chat that matters. It's Thursday night, it's 9 o'clock. It's time to talk rugby. Plenty of World Cup rugby to talk this weekend, but not the games we want. We've already had 2 of them cancelled due to the typhoon, and we're also very worried about the big one, and that is Scotland against Japan. We'll touch sides of the panel on that. There'll also be some time to talk Mitre10Cup. I believe Couch Critic is eager to get stuck into that one, so we'll see a bit of an experience with Bay of Plenty this morning. And, of course, we'll talk some Pro14 rugby as well. Let me introduce the panel. I'll introduce them in the order in which they came in. To my right on the screen there, it's Brendan Wessels. Brendan, good to have you back on the show.
Brent, lucky to be back. Always nice to chat to you guys.
Sorry, Brendan?
No, I said lucky to be back. Always nice to chat to you guys on a Thursday evening, and hopefully a good weekend of punting ahead.
Excellent, great. And let's go down below him to Couch Critic. Couch, the Typhoons are playing havoc with us. We've got 2 less games to look forward to. But as Gary touched on in the last show, there's plenty of implications about this as well. It's not just a question of, well, the games aren't being played, but from a punting point of view, your long-term punts on, for example, a Farrell to be top try scorer, or top point scorer, should I say, or a Sivu Reese to be top try scorer, they're all impacted heavily.
Brent, that's the first thing I thought when I woke up this morning, checked Twitter and saw some messages, and I was thinking, oh my word, long-terms, exotics, and I was seriously concerned. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized I was screwed. And apart from Gregor Townsend, I might be the second most pissed off about this typhoon in the world at the moment.
Right, that's it. Well, I can just mention to all the guys that are going to be in the live chat as well, we did have some technical problems on the last show with Gary, and I'm pretty sure there was a bit of a connection problem, but I think the main problem was the link between StreamYard and YouTube. So at the moment, live comments are not also coming up on here at the moment. It's also the first time we're going live on Facebook. So if anyone is on Facebook, please make a comment. It would be interesting to see if you are seeing us there. I've just gone on with my phone and I can see something. Peter Paul, in fact, has come up with a comment, so hopefully we're going to be going well. But guys, let me introduce Henrik first. Henrik, you're one of the few guys who made money on the Mitre10Cup because you got involved in running this morning. So you're in a good mood going into this weekend. Looking forward to the action?
Yeah, Brent, I was lucky to get involved at halftime with that wind was strong, and I just thought that the pressure would tell at the end, and I was lucky there. So I'm not going to claim that I was good or something. I was just lucky on that one, but I'm looking forward. There's a few I like in Mitre10Cup this weekend, and also the World Cup. Is disappointed about the 2 games on Saturday morning that we won't be seeing and won't be able to punt on only 1 game on Saturday. And I'm worried about another one as well, but we'll get there.
Right, well, Henrik, let's start with you then for Saturday. And if I could for Friday's game. If I can just tell you a little bit, for once, I'm actually not going to be missing out on too much rugby because once again, I've got a water polo tournament for my daughter on Saturday. So I would have missed those games. But obviously, I am very disappointed that they're not taking place. And looking at tomorrow's game, Australia against Georgia, Henrik, I looked at this one and I can tell you I really, really battled to form a firm opinion on this because Australia, of course, have got nothing to play for. Georgia have been disappointing in this World Cup. And the handicap is pretty much where I would have put it, around the 26, 27 point mark. What are you doing here?
Yeah, Brent, I'm 100% with you. This is a very tough one. I've got no strong feeling on this one. The handicap, I've got really no feeling on. This can go either way. I'm definitely not going to have a punt on the handicap. I've got a 1 bet down, and it's not a strong bet, but I've taken under 24.5 first half points. I think it might be a bit tight in the first half, and there's a bit of weather with rain predicted. There should be steady rain throughout the game, before the game and during the game. So yeah, and a lot of the games, the first half has been a bit tighter and lower scoring. So I've taken the under 24.5 first half points. That's my only bet in this game, but yeah, I'm not very strong on this one.
Well, one of my big challenges before the show is I said to my wife, will you please just watch on Facebook and see if the stream comes on and then make a comment. Now, my wife is a Facebook stalker of note, but she doesn't like making comments. So she posted this. So I can show you, ladies and gentlemen. We've got our first Facebook comment up there. So thumbs up as the broadcast is going out to Facebook. Couch, let's go to you for your opinion on this game.
Brent, I think that might also be our very first and probably our only female contribution ever. So we might have to enjoy that for the time being. Listen, for this one, I must say I don't like Australia. I don't like big handicaps. And Georgia have been good to me, and right on cue. Obviously, I'm going to take the Aussie minus. It's just I don't know why. If you can get minus 25.5, it just looks short to me. I think this is a decent Australian team. Cheka's been mixing and matching quite a lot, but I think he's got a decent lineup going there. Tamua is starting at fly, which I think is his best option going forward. In any case, Karevi's there. He's going to wreak havoc in midfield. For Betia, I really need him to score a try after the absolute flippin' dismal typhoon news. And even that Betia at right wing had a decent game the other day, so I'm thinking he's good and nothing wrong with the pack. The only issue is Australia obviously won't be dominating this Georgian pack. They're actually a decent solid pack of forwards, so it's going to be 50-50 at the front there. But Australia, to me, have just got all the weapons at the back, and Georgia don't have much. So I still think if you can get 25.5, that's the way to go if you want to have a little play there. Otherwise, look for a try scorer or something like that. I think Karevi is actually even money to score a try in the game. So to me, that's where I'm going to be heading.
Well, see, Chris he came in just after you said that, Kat, and said Karevi will get a couple of tries after being rested. So if you're saying he's even money anytime try scorer, I think Chris would certainly be all over that. Brendan, let's go to you then on this game.
Yeah, Brent, I'll be honest, this isn't a game I'm probably looking at. I agree with Han. The handicap is appealing at minus 25.5. I might go something very small on it. So I'm not super confident on it. And the reason being is I just wonder, the Aussies will want to get the win, but, they have a week less rest than the English now with this cancellation. So, do they want to kill themselves when they got a big quarterfinal 7 days later? Probably not. So, any other day, any other test, I'd say minus 25.5 is a gift. Looking at what Georgia did in the warm-ups and how they played so far, I'd say Aussie. I like the Aussie team. I'd probably go a very small handicap if pushed, but then I'd go anytime try scorer Jordan Pataya. I thought for the 40 minutes he played the last Aussie game, I really liked the way he played. Strong runner with the ball. But nothing big for me here. Like I said, with the England-France clash being ruled out, it just gives England so much more rest ahead of the Aussie game. So I think Checker will know that, and maybe 45 minutes in, rest the big guns, knowing what's ahead.
Right, Couch, before we leave this game, just going down to you, anything else to add? I know you normally have a few specials you want to throw in.
No, Brent, I didn't get involved in a preview on this one, so I didn't organize a special for this game. But as I said, to me, I'd have a go at Karevi. I think at even money, that's a nice little shout there. And as I said, I think Australia will still score a few tries, and whether they're trying very hard or not or whatever. I think they want a positive performance here. They'd like to get a little bit of positive momentum going to go into that game. And as I said, it's a quality backline. Maybe not James O'Connor at outside centre. I don't really rate him in that position, but otherwise it's pretty dynamite, and I think they'll be way too slick for Georgia. If there isn't a little bit of rain around, if there is, then it's going to be tough, and Georgia are going to try and mug them up front, and it could get a real ugly game. And then unders on points is probably the way to go. So I'll have a look. Try and see if I can get the weather beforehand. Otherwise, it's Aussies at the back for me. Then just quickly, I don't know. Obviously, you guys talked about it on the show, but I must say I'm with you guys in terms of contingencies and things like that. I just think it's been poorly done by the World Cup organizers. Everyone's talking about safety and all those kind of issues, but surely they could have just rescheduled it for the same venues that aren't getting any rain, and like where Namibia are playing and where this game is being played, and either played it as a game beforehand and just played two games at the same stadium, or played Saturday and Sunday at the same venues. And people have said logistically, but in Super Rugby you play on the weekend of a semi-final or of a quarter-final, and you don't know where you're going to be playing yet on the next weekend. So I don't buy into that. It's completely impossible. It's not ideal, but neither is this situation. So to me, I think they've wet the bed a bit there.
Just chuckling at the comment by Joe Lyons, one of our regulars on the show. He's saying he's got a lot of Scottish mates that have immobilised and heading over to make sure the game gets played. If it doesn't, all hell will break loose. And I think that's a fair comment as well. I think things will go a little bit crazy there if it doesn't. But let's move on to Saturday's games. And we've got Ireland up against Samoa, is it? And I see a very similar handicap here. And Brendan, we'll start with you. I'm on Sunbet at the moment. Ireland minus 28.5 against the Samoans. Well, Ireland, of course, have still got to do the business because they don't know what's going to happen on Sunday.
Well, yeah, I think that's it. I think they're playing with a lot of uncertainty at the moment, not knowing whether or not the game on Sunday will be cancelled. So, I think I worked out they just need the win. I think it doesn't matter if they get the win with the bonus points or just the win, because they cannot top the group. If they get the win with the bonus points, they go to 16. If the game for Japan, Scotland is cancelled, Japan also ends on 16, and then the head-to-head means Japan finish first. So I think the calculation is that I don't think Ireland can be knocked out, and I don't think Ireland can finish first, irrespective of the Scottish-Japanese game. But yeah, it's once again a little bit of a high handicap for me, taking into account the next week's game for Ireland, which is the world number 1 New Zealand. So, there again you've got Conor Murray and Sexton, who are your bread and butter boys. You don't want to risk them against the hard-hitting Samoans who've got nothing to lose. They're back on the flights, a couple of days after that game. So, I think they'll just get the win, do the business. I don't see Ireland. Look, they'll play well. I think I'll put a couple of passes in, but there again, the handicap for me is too high. I won't be involved in this game. I don't think in anything, even in small bets.
Right, Henrik, let's go to you on this one.
Brent, I like Ireland, yeah. And this is my strongest points fancy for the weekend here. We haven't got points yet, but whatever it's going to be, I'm going to be on unders on Samoa points here. I like the team Ireland have picked, and the defense should be very strong here. So I would love to get double figure points on Samoa, 9.5, 10.5. I would be very happy to go unders. And saying that, I like Ireland on the minus as well, because I think they will score a few, and I can't see Samoa getting points here. I'd be Samoa max 1 try. Under 1.5 tries for Samoa would also be a great bet. But yeah, I checked the weather forecast for this one, and there's basically no rain. It's like 0.1 millimeters. So there might be a wee bit, but almost nothing, and a bit of a breeze. But the weather won't be too bad. So I like Ireland here, and the Samoa points, unders on Samoa points, my strong bet here.
Right, Couch.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Ireland do actually need the bonus point win there, because they could all end on 15, and that's obviously then it's points difference. They'll probably still edge it there, but I think Ireland will go out looking to score the 4 tries and looking to put up a very decent performance there. So I think they have got quite a bit to play for. Pick their best team, so it is the best team basically. So it's all systems go for Ireland. I think they want Sexton and Conor Murray to have a good game and really step up their performance, because they haven't been playing good rugby. And I'm 100%. That's what I've got down, or I had it down for my preview, but obviously I can't get a price on it. Is Samoa points. If there's one thing Ireland can do really well, it's defend, and they'll shut out Samoa. Yeah, I don't see Samoa scoring much, and Ireland exactly the same as Heinrich. I like them on the minus, and definitely Samoa do not score a lot. And I've also got Ireland first half handicap 13.5. I think they'll start solid and look to build from there. As I said, probably get a couple of tries in the first half and look to get that 4 tries in the bank.
Oh, well, Couch, let's stay with you and go on to the next game. It's Namibia up against Canada. Now, I know a lot of you guys have been taking Namibia at odds. I think Sean Nicholas got around 2-1 Namibia. Henrik, you were, I think, the first one to identify Namibia as the bet there. They're in now, Couch, to 9-10 the pair. Just quickly, someone on Twitter suggesting that why don't you rather postpone a game like this for a week, fly the other teams into play, because these guys, of course, are going home after this game. There's no playoffs for them. So in theory, you could do something like that. But what do you make of this one?
Brent, just lastly, special that I'm going to get posted for that game is Andrew Conway to score the last try. He's on the bench. He's in great form. So Andrew Conway, last try scorer is for the Ireland game is well going for the try scorers. Onto this one, we've all discussed it quite a long way out and pretty firm, most of them on Namibia. And if you look at the build-up and time between games and everything like that, you've got to say Namibia is getting the edge here. I don't know what the weather looks like, but it's a very early afternoon game, obviously, to slot in all the games. So I don't know. Obviously the weather might play a part, but even there, Canada don't really have a pack, and I think the Namibians are bigger boys, solid. So I wouldn't really let a bit of rain put me off. And if it's a nice day, then Namibia as well. So to me, it's even money. I'd say Namibia is the call, and that's where I'll be going. Obviously, maybe a little bit of patriotism in there. I'm not going to make it a huge punt because you never know what Canada could do on the day. But I have a solid feeling that Namibia will do the business.
Well, early watchers of our Use It or Lose It show a few weeks ago will be quite surprised you calling yourself a patriotic Namibian after the way you got stuck into them. We'll have to show Yellow Cap a clip of this. Henrik, I'll go to you next because I know you have looked at the weather at all these grounds as well. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Brent, I hear you guys saying they should move some of the games to this venue where Namibia is playing, but there's no chance this game is going to take place. I can't believe that this game hasn't been cancelled yet. If you take a look at the weather, there's a crazy amount of rain predicted. Of all the venues, the most rain is predicted for this one. Is on Saturday, I just checked now again, between 6 o'clock, Sunday, between 6 o'clock in the morning and 12 o'clock the afternoon, there's almost 120 millimeters of rain predicted. So there's absolutely no chance this game is going to go ahead. It's
Brent, just on that, half the Namibian team are farmers, so they might just stop and just start clapping.
No, it's heartbreak for me because I'm on Namibia to win the game at 21-10 and plus 5.5, and I would have taken the 9-10 as well as a very strong bet. I like Namibia very strong here, but I can't see this game being played. I'm really surprised that they haven't cancelled this one yet.
Henrik, what do you think of that red card worth looking at from Rugby Fan in the comments? Samoan red card.
Yeah, let me just check who's the ref for that one. Nick Berry. He's not the. You hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, sorry, Nick Berry. He's an Anders ref normally in my book, but I don't see him as a big court ref. The French refs more into their courts. That's a market I don't bet a lot on either. So I haven't got a strong feeling on that one. But yeah, the Samoans with their games, Tonga and Samoa, there's always the chance of courts with the Pacific nations. So yeah, you might go for it. It's not a market I like.
Excellent, Brendan. Let's go to you for your opinions on the Namibia-Canada game.
Yeah, hopefully, Brent. Hopefully, it does go ahead. But after Henrik posted this morning about the weather, I also had to check, and it also looks like there's going to be a lot of rain. I hope it does go ahead because I'd like the Noise Neighbours to get the win. I see Nabas Boer on Twitter. I can't remember his name is Jacques. He used to play for Saracens. I just can't remember what his name is. Yeah, that's it. And he's been posting, and hopefully our neighbours to the north can get the win. But I'll go medium play in Namibia. I just think the turnaround for Canada is going to be too short. They had Ardron, their fly half, and Hassler and DTH van der Merwe all playing 4 days ago. So and Daisel is back for Namibia. So it's really good. He was an inspirational guy for them. So I'm glad he's back. And let's hopefully it goes ahead. We don't want to see so many games cancelled. We're going to be left with nothing to watch in the morning but Paw Patrol.
Listen, I wouldn't really take the fact that Nabas Boer is confident about the game as something to put your money on. I think he would have been confident if they played the All Blacks. So I'm not quite convinced on that, but I am convinced on the bet though. That's for sure. I thought beforehand, looking at the Pacific Nations Cup, that Canada weren't going to be all bad. But apparently, when I read a lot of the things going on in the camp and not exactly the best players playing there, clearly that's played a role in their campaign. And we've seen that. I think Namibia are a tight unit, and the way they've talked about this thing, it's a very big issue for them that they haven't won a World Cup game, and it's they really want to go out and do it. So. And they've been targeting this one for a long time, where I think maybe Canada would have thought, maybe we can beat one of the bigger guys or something like that. So, no, it's definitely to me.
I think as Gav pointed out, Namibia have actually beaten Canada recently. So it's a good sign, and I think I agree with what you're saying, Johan. It just looked like Namibia against All Blacks actually looked quite good. Where Canada versus us, they just looked disjointed. They didn't look great, and not at any point did they look threatening. I mean, they scored a try, sure, but I preferred the way Namibia played against the All Blacks as opposed to the way Canada played against us.
Yeah, no, definitely. I must say, and I didn't even know the news on Duisel, and I think that's a positive as well. That I mean, that can only be good for them. Guys, it's fine if we go on to USA and Tonga there. Henrik, I don't even know what the handicap is. USA, Tonga.
-5.5.
Yeah, it's -4, -5.5. Tonga favorites here. I got onto USA early on, about 2 weeks ago, probably. USA to win the game at 1.75 to 1, and I expected this to shorten. But the USA, they've been disappointing. I expected much better from them, and after Argentina rollicked them early in the week, the prices actually drifted. So I'm in a bit of a precarious position because I had a pretty big bet with the expectation of the price coming in and then covering a bit. So I'm in a tough spot here. I've got my money down on the USA, but I'm definitely not confident. I think the Tonga's going to win this one. And if I didn't have money down, I would take Tonga on the -4.5 now. But unfortunately, my money's already down on the US. So my opinion is at current betting Tonga on the minus here.
I did exactly the same. I got on before the previous game, I think, and I thought, okay, USA are going to strengthen after this game, and they were actually pretty poor, and it never happened. So I'm in exactly the same boat there, Henrik. Brendan, you got a strong feel for this one?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I was actually just thinking about it today. I think I agree with you guys. When I watched that Argentina-Tonga game, the way Tonga were playing, I thought USA should clean the floor with these oaks. But now reviewing sort of this morning, if I look at the way Tonga played against Argentina and Tonga played against France versus the way USA played against France, USA played against Argentina, you can't compare the two. I think Tonga have been far the strongest side. I think if Vaiano didn't waste 2 minutes before dodging the ball down against France, they may have had a bit more time to win the game. I think Tonga here, -4.5 is such a gem. Take into account, I checked the stats. It may be wrong, but I might be wrong, but I haven't seen USA have beaten Tonga at all. And Tonga have beaten USA fairly regularly by more than 4 or 5 points. So, absolutely. And with the short, so I mean, USA played yesterday. It's technically a 3-day turnaround for them to play on Sunday. And they get today, Friday, and Saturday as rest days, and they must play on Sunday against Tonga. And they're brought in by the big difference for me is Vaiano, who didn't play his first game against England. He's such a dangerous man playing for Leicester, and he was absolutely he cut the oaks to shreds. So -4.5 to me is got my big cash. My only problem watching Tonga clear out the rucks, you just hold your breath because they fly in with shoulders, fists, everything, and you just pray that every ruck's not going to get reviewed because every ruck is a bit dirty. They've got Nigel Owens as the ref. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but look, I'll put some decent money on it, but just knowing that Tonga might be 15-0 up and give away a red card.
Yeah, that would be cruel. Brent, USA Tonga.
USA Tonga, Couch, I haven't had a big look at this one, I must say. I was impressed by the start of the USA against Argentina the other day, but they fell apart a bit after that. I guess at the end of the day, they did fall back thinking they would focus on this game. I'm a little bit surprised, though, to be honest, to be getting a plus about them. I thought this would be a choice game. If anything, I'd be leaning towards the USA on the handicap, but certainly not strong.
You guys aren't helping me for my Super Bowl. Yeah, that's going to be a crucial game, and I need to get it right so I can take your money.
That's why I want Scotland-Japan game to take place, because when you're chasing in Super Bowl, you need these close games. You've got to catch them. And the Scotland-Japan game gets cancelled off. There goes another opportunity to gain. Of course, it could be an opportunity to lose. But I think you're going to get most of the Super Bowl people going for Japan in this game. And I'm hoping to get Scotland and make some yards, particularly in the money pool, Couch, where, we got a nice, what do we got, about a 13,000, 14,000 prize. And you in the top 5 last I looked.
3.
Yeah, I think I moved into third. I think at one stage, I don't know if I moved on margins, but it's a tight spot, and I actually wanted the England France kind of game to go ahead because, as you said, some desperate guys might even shift to France and start really falling out of the running there. So it's again, I've been screwed by the weather, yeah, man. I've been screwed by the weather.
We really need that Namibia Canada game as well for the Super Brokers. I think a lot of guys will go Canada there, and I'm pretty confident of Namibia winning that.
I was actually thinking of going the other way and thinking if I get on Canada and Canada win, I'm clear, because I think everyone in the groups are going to go Namibia. Everyone's going to be like South African, Namibia, and I think you could, if Canada wins and you're on them, you're going to be clear there.
Fair enough.
Interesting that. I've got a feeling most of the guys will go for Namibia, but also I agree with you. There will be those who go for Canada as well, so we can maybe see some changes. So, Couch, have you guys finished chatting about the USA Tonga? You ready to move on to Wales, Uruguay?
Yep.
Right. Well, let's start with Brendan there. Wales, Uruguay, Brendan. Obviously, a big handicap here. Wales minus 45.5 points. Now, if you watched the GG Gaming show earlier, this is one of the virtual games that Gary put up. What do you think of that? Is this a handicap too big to get involved with?
Yeah, I agree. The big handicaps, the bookies are cleaned up here. I think from that Fiji Wales game, I think there's going to be a lot of sore bodies. Once again, they've got a quarterfinal 7 days later against France. They just want to get the win against Uruguay. I think they're going to get the dirt track as a run against Uruguay. They just want to get the game out the way to focus on next week. I'd probably go smalls plus on the Uruguay. I think they've been plucky. Last game they've had a bit of a rest now since their last game where they played 2 games quite close sort of proximity. So they've had a bit of a rest. I think they're going to be up for it and just trying to have a bit of a show. Yeah, I said I'll probably something small on Uruguay on the plus. It's a big handicap, and we've seen big handicaps that haven't really landed in as much as we'd have liked.
Yeah, I must say I agree with the comments of Chris here in the live chat. Wales don't tend to post huge scores. They don't tend to put teams away. And I can think in experience, I've watched games, I think, against teams like Tonga and that at the Millennium Stadium where I've expected Wales to win by 60, 70. And they've sort of gone out there and won by about 20. We've got a Henrik on this one. Henrik, is this the sort of game you're avoiding?
No, I like Uruguay on the plus here, Brent. Like you say, Wales don't put teams away, and they had the tough game against Fiji now. They just need to win here, and I've actually been really impressed by Uruguay. They one of the teams I've been most impressed with so far. If you go pound for pound, what everybody offers, Uruguay has been one of the best teams for me in the World Cup. And I actually expect a bit of points here from them as well. Even I've been really disappointed with Wales' defense. I expected much better defense from them, and they've leaked a bit of tries. So I think, whatever the Uruguay quote will be here, I'll search for its lowest quote, and I go over on Uruguay points, and I will take them on the plus as well. I just think Wales would just want to get the job done and just win the game. And I can't see them winning by 40 plus here.
Couch?
Oh, it's tough to say without any team news there. I really hope that Josh Adams is not gonna play, because he's right in the mix for top try scorer now, and he could pull away with a couple of tries. So we really need him to not play. But I agree. Wales they're just here to get the job done and move on, so they won't be worried where Uruguay last game out. They're going to give it full beans. The only concern is we've seen some of the smaller teams just fall off the pace a little bit in their last game. So hopefully Brendan's extra rest is gonna do Uruguay some good. And I think if you have to just go for that plus. Anything over 40 to me is tough to make up in this one, especially with Wales having no reason to hunt it, and hopefully a few different combinations there as well. I'm definitely in the plus camp, and I'm hoping Uruguay can do the business.
Right. Well, Joe Lyons in the live chat saying he reckons Australia, you got under on the cap as Georgia are fighting for third spot. He also, I think, made the comment earlier that it could have a bit of a physical toll on the Aussies as well. Couch, let's stay with you for the last game of the weekend, and let's hope this one takes place. It's Scotland up against Japan. Japan, it's almost a choice game, but Scotland are generally, and I'll just pop over to Sunbet here, but Scotland are generally favourites I think across the board, with Japan around 11, 12 to 10, and Scotland sort of 7, 8 to 10 mark. Let's assume this game goes ahead, as we all hope it will. Where's the money going?
Oh, man, I just watched this show of Jeremy Guscott just before we started this one, and he was saying he was surprised that Scotland was still 10 and 11-point favourites, and I was thinking, where in the world is he finding that when he thinks that's the current situation? But the big thing coming in here is I've toed and froed for this game. After that first start, I told Hendrik he can throw his ticket in the bin on his Japanese to beat the Scots, and then it turned around and I thought these Scots are absolutely bloody pathetic. He's onto a good thing, and I don't know, the more we get into this closer to kickoff time, and especially with everything that's happened with the weather, I think Scotland just cannot afford to lose this one. They've now, talked about World Rugby being unfair and everything if they don't let them play. If they do let them play, they're going to look like absolute poo-poo if they don't go and beat them there. So I'm thinking it's going to be that in between result where Scotland win, but they don't win by more than 7, and Japan still do enough to sneak it in there, or Scotland don't quite get that 4th try or something like that. But I think Scotland are going to sneak this one, and yeah, Japan aren't going to be trouble them up front. It's going to be pretty even, and then it's the two backlines against each other, and they're probably pretty well matched. So it's a real coin toss. But as I said, I just think Scotland have got a little bit more experience in these big type of games, and maybe the moment's going to be just a little bit too big for Japan. And coming into this, they might be thinking they don't know if they're playing or not playing. Where I think Scotland are just absolutely all in. We got to play and we got to give it full bean. So be Scotland to edge it, but still not beat Japan into a playoff spot.
Well, I'm going to go to Brendan there because I wanted to actually ask you, Brendan, that question. I mean, the mindset of the players going into this game, given that we know the game, there's a chance it'll be cancelled. I mean, are Japan perhaps thinking, obviously the cancellation would suit them a lot more than the Scots, but where the Scots' mind's at as well? I mean, you obviously know you've got to win the game, but are you preparing for it as you normally would, or is part of you going, well, are we wasting our time here? We may not even get a game. Does that affect the thinking at all?
Well, 100%, Brent. I watched Eddie Jones in a press conference this morning, and he basically, it's very difficult for the guys because they need to get into a game mode and sort of start prepping their minds and prepping everything else going forward. And Eddie just said, look, they're all watching their phones from minute to minute, and I think it's very distracting for the guys not knowing whether or not they're playing or not. So it is difficult to get into the right frame of mind. And I agree with Han. After all the whinging, I won't say it's whinging. That's Scottish have done. I said after all the comments that Scottish Rugby has made, they have to put in a big performance here. We shouldn't actually even be debating whether or not this game should be going ahead. It should be going ahead because it shouldn't have been played where they're playing now. World Rugby hasn't put in the contingencies they said they would, and but it is what it is. But I think it's for either team. It is tough. I'd say it's actually tough on Japan with the weight of expectation on their shoulders. For them to try and get mentally in the right frame of mind, there's a lot of pressure on the guys. It is tough. But looking at the game, Han made some very good points. It is a toing and froing. I think as we all do as punters, one game we say sure, but Scotland look good when they put I think Russia away by 60. Then the next game, maybe it's Japan, but I would say I would back in Japan, with the bravado that they stay in the game. I think what they did so well against the Irish are always staying in contention, and then just that momentum shift turn, and then the crowd got behind them. There was a couple of calls that were ignored by the ref. Just so much atmosphere. If the Japanese can get onto that, then they'd win. But if the Japs can cut the crowd out the game, if the Scottish can cut the crowd out the game, I'd back the Scots to take a win there. But it's on a knife edge. It really is 50-50. Yeah, that's why I'd say it's choice. But I'd back the Scots if I'd put money anywhere.
Certainly a big one for Super Brew as well. Guys, just a reminder, the Good for the Game newsletter going out tomorrow. I'll have to watch the show again and see if we can come up with what exactly that best bet is going to be. And there's a link to that as well as the Good for the Game forum thread where punters share their views throughout the week. But Hendrik, let's get the final word for you on this game, from you on this game.
Yeah, Brent, I got onto Scotland to be eliminated in the group stages before the World Cup at 4-1. So I'm on that one, and I've also, while Ireland and Japan were playing, and Japan they were ahead, and you could see that they're going to win the game. I I got onto Japan to beat Scotland at just under 2-1 and the plus 5.5. But I've had a change of mind. I like the Scots now, and on current betting, I'm also on the Scottish here. I think they will win the game, even with the home crowd and all the stuff. I've been impressed by Scotland after the Ireland game, and I think the Scottish they will win this game. So I'm on Scotland.
On the Scots. Well, that brings us to the end of the World Cup chat, guys. I'm going to come back and get your best bet. Sorry.
I was going to ask the panel one quick question. And somebody actually made a good comment today. I don't know how true it is, but it was from a fairly reliable source about 2-week turnarounds for England, France, and the All Blacks. There was a stat that said England performed much worse after a 2-week turnaround. They've lost against Scotland and France and Wales in the Six Nations after a 2-week turnaround. Now, don't you think that my only feeling here is it is a bit of extra rest for the guys, but isn't it also there's also a bit of negative that it's 2 weeks without rugby, and I think one of the guys could be caught cold. And I actually have a feeling England are going to be caught cold there. Not having played, they played 2-week teams and Argentina team with 14 men. So I'm not sure they're going into the quarters fully prepared.
I'll field that one first. Brendan, I think it's a good point. I think in England's case, they'd still probably rather take the 2 weeks rest rather than a hard game against France. But you do raise a good point about preparation. And I've also seen some people say even New Zealand might go in a little bit undercooked now into the quarters. But I just feel in a tournament where you're playing sort of, let's call it 6 or 7 matches or whatever it is, I think if I had to choose, I would still take the rest. But Couch, I think he makes a good point in the sense that often in Super Rugby, we see teams coming off the bye and underperforming as well.
Yes, definitely. I think the only thing almost in the favor of England there is that they did play their first choice team against Argentina and then the break. I mean, imagine if they were planning on only playing their strong team this weekend and also resting last weekend and basically having a 3-week rest. That would have been a bit of chaos there for them. But I think in this case, obviously maybe the Aussie game for them is a bit of a hurdle that could catch them out. But after that, if they can get through that one, they're going to be definitely better off for it for the Kiwi game or the All Black game possibly, because then we were all said if they had to play Argentina, France, Australia, New Zealand, and then probably the Box or something, it might be too much for them. And now they've just gotten that 1 week gap, which is good, and it's also another week. Obviously, maybe they'd like some game time for Jack Noel or those kind of guys and a Vunipola, but I think it's decent. And you could see Eddie Jones was like a cat who got milk there. He was absolutely ecstatic about this typhoon, which is actually a little bit disappointing. Some of his comments saying that he was happy about it, but so I think they're in a good space. And it's just either going to be a bomb that's going to burst on them and they're going to lose out to Australia, or we're all right in the fact that they've been pretty much timing things right and keeping something in the bag and slowly but surely churning up. So I'm hoping it's B, and I still think they've got Aussie's number in that quarter.
Right, Henrik, your views on that?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing for England. I don't think it's that bad for him, and I like Eddie Jones, and I enjoy his press conferences. I like his quotes. I enjoyed reading. He said the typhoon god smiled down on him. He always comes up with that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think it's not that great for New Zealand. A guy like Brodie Retallick, he's only had 30 minutes in the last couple of months. So he must have. They were planning on playing him for probably at least 60 minutes here. And then Richie Mo'unga, he didn't play the last game. They had Geordie at 10, and so he only had.
Don't talk any further about Mo'unga not playing, Anik. I'm gonna cry.
No, he would have started at 10. Yeah. So he only had the big game against the Box, and I'm sure Alanson would have wanted him to have a game against Italy. Not well, there's their first tier team, but yeah, they're much better competition than Namibia and Canada. So yeah, I don't think it's the best for New Zealand, but I don't think England really mind.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I guess that quarterfinal is where we'll have that. You'll be able to say which way it went, one way or another. Guys, let's move on now. I'm not going to spend too much time on the rest of the rugby because there are a lot of games, but I don't really want to go through each and every one. So let me start with the Mitre10 Cup. And Henrik, let's stay with you. Anything you fancy in the Mitre10 Cup over the rest of the weekend?
No, Brent, tomorrow morning, Taranaki versus Auckland. Both teams need to win. Taranaki at home, Auckland 4-point favorites here. I've opposed Taranaki the whole season. I've kept saying that the bookies overrate them. I still think they're overrated, so I'll go for Auckland. Both teams have picked their strongest team, but I like Auckland on the -4 here. Hawke's Bay Tasman, that's an interesting one. It opened up Tasman being 12 points favourites. Everybody expected them to field the second string team, and the handicap has come into 7.5. And then this morning we saw Tasman, they picked a very strong team. I think the handicap is still about 7. Let me just quickly, while I'm speaking, let me check. Yes,
7.5.
Still 7.5, and yeah, I got onto Hawke's Bay plus 10.5, but this morning I cancelled that bet with I took the -7.5. So I think, yeah, it's a difficult one. Tasman don't need to win; they've secured the top spot. So even though they picked the best team, will they go flat out? I'm not sure. I rate Hawke's Bay, and Hawke's Bay is at home. Hawke's Bay need to win to overtake Bay of Plenty to take top spot in the championship after Bay of Plenty won this morning. So it's a tough one. I basically cancelled my bet. I will probably not have a bet on the handicap here. So yeah, and the next one, Manawatu versus Kanties. Manawatu came out as underdogs, and now I see they into 5-point favourites, and I still like them to beat that 5.5 as well. That's one of my better bets. The Kanties, somebody commented on the forum that they've been on holiday for a few weeks now. I agree with that, and yeah, Manawatu need to win here. So I like the Turbos to beat the handicap here. Wellington, Waikato, they have nothing to play for. They can't make the playoffs anymore. And Wellington, they need to win. So Wellington, they were disappointing last week. I think they will bounce back here. And I like Wellington on the minus here. Northland to Otago, both teams not really anything to play for. -12.5, Otago. Well, Otago's out. No, Otago they're all still in it. Sorry, Brendan, is Otago still in it, right?
Yeah, I think they can finish 4th, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so then, Otago probably on the minus, but I'm not strong on that one, obviously. And then the last game, Canterbury, Northland, North Harbour. I like North Harbour on the plus here. They started a bit slowly in the season, but they've been good the last couple of weeks. And like I've always said, I like following coaches. And Kieran Kane is their coach here. He coached Tasman a few years back, and then he went to Connacht for one season. Now he's back in New Zealand, and he's coaching North Harbour. And yeah, I like him. And I think Canterbury is a bit overrated this season, so I like the plus here. And then my best bet on the Mitre10 Cup, I'll go for Manawatu to beat the -5.5 against Counties. Hello.
I think
Brent.
Brent's
Okay, just on Brendan, I don't know if you've got something on that, Brendan, but I must say I climbed in. We on a group there where we saw everything was Bay of Plenty, and I got plenty on them. And then I read somewhere that there was some weather around, and I thought, okay, maybe it wasn't such a good idea. But obviously, you know me, I just stuck to my guns and thought, okay, I just won't go any bigger. And then I heard it's 5-all and it's raining, and I just knew, listen, the pain is coming, and I didn't want to drop any more cash. So I just left it at that. So it wasn't. And I took some alternative handicap like Bay of Plenty to win by 13.5 and that kind of thing. So it was horrendous. Brendan, how'd you go? What do you see for the Mitre10?
Yeah, I got a lacquer clap this morning. I think my arse is still hurting from that. I got smacked on both cheeks. I should have actually woken up and saw the weather. You know, that's actually I was on the way to a meeting, like I told you, Oaks, and on the way home I was actually thinking that's lazy punting from my side. I should have checked the weather. You know, you think you're BOP, they've smoked everybody, just load them up. I had -15.5, also as an alternative handicap in a multi, and I thought that should be quite safe. And I took some cover at half time, but I learned a nice lesson this morning. I'm not too invested in the Mitre10 this weekend. I've literally got Wellington in one of my in one of my multis. It's just a straight win. But I've tried to relook at all the fixtures. There's nothing that really pops out to me. I'll just see how the weekend goes. I might invest. I might just go against Henrik there. I might go for Canterbury on the minus. They're not the Canterbury of old. I think we've seen that this Mitre10Cup, and I don't know if they're waxing and waning a little bit. But there's one team that knows how to play knockout rugby is Canterbury. They still want to play for. I think they can only finish third, or they can get overtaken and finish fourth. I think they'll be gunning for a third spot to play the weaker Wellington team rather than playing Tasman away. So I think they'll try and gun for that. And like I said, it's not been the best Canterbury performance this season, but I'd still back them to beat North Harbour. I don't think North Harbour has been amazing, except for that last week against Wellington.
Couch, are you sitting out the Mitre10Cup after this morning's Bay of Plenty?
I'm so washed out. It's not even funny. If I see rain again, I think I'm gonna lose it. So I'm sitting out of the New Zealanders, but I think Brendan might need to take us into some Pro14 there, where I believe he's got a certain chain going and he's the conductor.
Hector, well, let's actually go to Brendan for Pro14. I can tell you the guys in the live chat, and we obviously have a lot of the guys are from in the UK and that as well. They're talking all about the Pro14, so it seems you're going to get a bit of interest in that one. Brendan, what have you got going there?
Yeah, look, the Bloom train is still going strong here, Brent. We're all the way to Bloom this weekend again. Look, it's not as obvious as confident as I was last week. I think it's going to be a tougher game against Munster. I saw the past two scores. When the Munsters played against the Cheetahs, I think Munster won by 2 points in 2017 and won by 5 points in last year. But the Cheetahs were on the line in the last minute, should have scored the try, didn't. But far fitter, far better Cheetahs team this time around. I think Formunk has made a big difference. Rainer Smith been good. Ruan Pienaar, as much as I don't like the guy, I actually remember Henrik's comments many months ago saying he's actually quite a good player for the Cheetahs, and I've actually been proved wrong. He's actually been fantastic. He's controlled the play like a general. The only oak that's come in that worries me a little bit is a number 12. I won't mention his name because I don't want to slate Oaks on the show. I know you Oaks always don't like mentioning individuals, but a certain fly-half. My only concern is now, if you look at the Cheetahs backline, hey, you've got Skuman is a fly-half. This certain number 12 is also a fly-half. Brent Janssen van Rensburg is also a fly-half. And William Small-Smith on the wing. So all that aside, I'm still very, very confident on the Cheetahs. I took a lot of -5.5. I took a lot of 6.5, and I still see this -7.5. I'll still be confident on that. I saw the Ulster coach's comments. He was blown away by the fitness of the Cheetahs. He said also the heat and altitude is something they're just not really accustomed to at this point in time. So I'm big on the Cheetahs here. I don't know if you want me to go on the rest of the Pro14.
Yeah, Brent has left it.
Sorry, man. My great thing that I've just invested in is not as good as I was hoping. I cannot buy a break at the moment. I've got a Wi-Fi that goes off the 15 minutes after the show. I've now got this 4G dongle that just comes and goes in its own time. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. But sorry, carry on there, guys. I don't know who you going to talk about Pro14, Couch.
Brendan, okay, maybe I'll just say we'll give Brendan the rest of the Pro14. I just want to say I'm following in on the Cheetahs there. I watched the Munster didn't impress me against the Kings. I hope they don't turn around and become a whole different team from 1 week to the other. But what I saw between the two teams, the Cheetahs are just this crazy team. If you look at Formunk individually, Reino Smith as an individual, Clayton Bomikis, he made a career there, and I think all three of them are pretty bang average. But in that setup and in that system, it's just they thrive. I mean, the same with Bernard Jans van Rensburg. I mean, geez, he was an average fly-off, and now he's a bloody outside centre. Who would have believed that? So I don't know, something just works there, and the style they play and how they operate just works for those lads. And hopefully also, last game Franco Smith, last game Ox and Anku. Hopefully they just really dig deep and give it one heck of a go, and also probably the last game at home for a while. So I'm hoping it's one last chip on the Bloom train, and I've got my seat in first class. Henrik, are you also on board the Bloom one, or are you still sitting out and waiting to get involved half time?
No, I climbed in on the -6.5 on Monday. I'm very strong on the Cheetahs again. It's, their last game at Bloem for the year, and it's Franco's last game in Charts. I'm expecting a very strong showing from them. They play, Munster. I rate Johan van Graan as a very poor coach. So I think Munster is a poor coach, and I think Munster can be taken on as long as Johan van Graan.
See, Brendan, we don't mind slating.
Coaches.
I'm trying to be political here.
Yeah, I was actually wondering where Brendan got that impression, because after watching Couch for the first few weeks, I mean, he offended every player around.
Sorry, Handik.
No.
When the Diane van der Westhuizen household at all, eh?
There's Chris McGowan.
I actually
Train like printing money.
I actually think Louis Fisher at 12 is an interesting one with the dual playmaker. So they've got a lot of 10s in the backline, but it means they've got a lot of clever guys probably in the backline. So that would be an interesting one. But the foundation is laid in the front. So that's where the Cheetahs. That's where the successes come from the forwards. And I see Chris Klutter. He was on the bench against the Kings, and he's out now. And I think that's a big loss. He might have started here, and he would have slowed down the Cheetahs' balls. There is nobody to slow down the Cheetahs' ball. So I think if you can get, I'll take any minus under 2 converted tries. I'll actually take any minus under 20. Yeah, I'm very confident on the Cheetahs, and I think they will win easily. Yeah.
No, look,
music to my ears.
I try to find a highlights because I've never seen, like I said, I've never seen for all the games Louis Fisher has played for the Bulls and whoever. I've never seen him play at centre. So I try to find YouTube clips of just to put my mind at ease that he's actually played centre before. And I've watched a couple of his games in Japan, and geez, because it looks like he's running and putting the whole time. He's just really not quick on the line. But like I said, he came on for Dries Ronnepoel, and he had a good game. He actually broke the line once or twice, and nice offload, and he actually scored a nice try with the guy popping the ball inside. But we were chatting during the week about Cheetahs maybe winning the league and the cup. But looking at the bench, I've actually rescinded my comments. When you've got the tie smuggler Clayton Blommetjies, who looks like he's got a tie underneath his shirt, man. If they must go on a dart, geez, he's such a big guy and he's not keeping fit. You've got.
You should never have told him he could insult players.
I'm in the mood now. But Tian May, who's covering wing and scrum half. Yeah, it's just the forwards. Look, like as Henrik says, the forwards are really well stocked. But and even the Ulster coach said the forwards are good, big, athletic. I just can't believe you haven't got a couple of better guys on the bench to bring through. Alle Leinster, alle Munster, where they bring the youngsters through. We're recycling guys like Blommetjies, who went to Scarlets, got dropped there for fitness, went to Leicester. Who knows what happened there? He's only there for 3 months, then he got recycled back to the Cheetahs. And we don't want to see Oaks picking up journeyman. We've got such a talent factory. It's pity that we see guys like that. But if you don't mind, I want to just touch on the 2 other games. I'm not going to go through the rest of them. There's nothing else that pops out to me. The 2 other games that I really like is Leinster versus Edinburgh. I looked at Edinburgh's team. It's also a hodgepodge mix and match, missing plenty players. Leinster's got a pretty good team. James Lowe, I really like in the backline. They've got Devon Toner and Scott Fardy, a lot of experience there. And Leinster put 50 past Ospreys the other day. I really like Leinster. They've got a good tendency to actually nail team. And my big bets, aside from the Cheetahs, the Cheetahs is my big bet for the weekend, but my big bet for the weekend, aside from them, is Glasgow -6.5 versus
Cardiff.
Cardiff, yeah. I really rate Dave Rennie as a coach. They've lost a lot of players, but they've still got some quality there. They were a bit poor against Scarlets, but they've lost 2 in a row. I expect a big reaction from them. I also think it's always interesting to see the play, because obviously Cardiff play on a normal grass pitch as opposed to the 4G in Glasgow. So it's Glasgow know the conditions. Yeah, I'm rating for them to. There is a bit of rain around, but it doesn't really worry with that pitch. But I'm expecting a big reaction from Glasgow. And to me, 6.5 at home is just too short.
Excellent. Anything else from you guys before we move on to our best bets? You ready to nail down those best bets? Couch, let's start with you.
Oh, thanks for that one, Brent. No, I think it's pretty much it's pretty much cheaters. I'm not gonna lie. After the start of the weekend, my weekend might be over very very early. Come Saturday morning, there's no more punting for me if this cheetah train doesn't leave the station. That's pretty much where my weekend starts or ends. So it's all into the cheetahs, and then after that I can breathe again, hopefully. And then it's probably only Ireland where I'm solidly confident. Ireland on a minus, and that's pretty much all for me. That's really standing out. And then I'll obviously go and follow Henrik and Brendan on some Pro14 and Mitre10 there.
Well, let's go to Brendan for his best bet.
Yeah, there's only one bet. That's the Bloom train. It's all the way. Yeah, no, it's I like Glasgow minus 6.5. But I'm in the same basket as Hein. If the Bloom train doesn't pull through, man, it's going to be troubles in my household. My girlfriend is going to be disappointed by Saturday night dinner where we're going for that.
Not another disappointment for her.
Oh, jeez, can you believe it? There's so many to pick from. But Cheetahs is my best bet. Then it's Glasgow, and then hopefully that all goes well. And then I'm putting some big bucks on Tonga minus 5.5. I'm hoping pulling for a big win there.
Goes the USA. Right, Henrik, what are your best bets?
Vrystaat. Cheetahs all the way, Brent. No, I like the Cheetahs very strong here. And then in the World Cup, if the Namibia game goes ahead, maybe to win that one. But yeah, I would be surprised if that game is played.
Excellent. Well, I'm not going to give you my bet because I haven't got it yet. I must say it's one of those weeks where I just haven't got around to having a good, strong look. I see Brendan's disappeared.
Brendan's gone.
Got to ensure the girlfriend's not disappointed, I hope there. But anyway, guys, thanks very much to all of the guys who joined us in the live chat. We seem to work a lot better this time than we did with the GG Gaming Show, where we did have some technical problems. That, of course, aside from all of my technical problems, but that's another story in particular. Brendan, thanks very much for joining us and have a cracking weekend.
You too. All best punting to everybody.
Couch, good one, mate. You working tomorrow?
Cheers, Brent. Yeah. No, I'm definitely actually might be on the road going to Uniondale for the day to go and show some auditors some made up assets. So it's all going to be good.
Hope the auditors don't watch this show. And Henrik, have a good one, mate.
Thanks, Brent. Yeah, everybody, good punting. Yeah, I'm a bit sad that the World Cup pool games is coming to an end. Got in front of almost every day having a game, so I'm gonna really miss the World Cup. So yeah, good punting.
Yeah, that's it. I must say, I'm also disappointed the way the World Cup is. The groups are ending with the rained-out game. That takes me back to some of the washed-out games in the Cricket World Cup. And those cycling fans will even remember we had a stage of the Tour de France shortened this year due to the weather. So it really has been a year where weather has played havoc with the bet. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks to the guys in the live chat. Just a reminder, Monday night, 9 o'clock, we've got Use It or Lose It. We might also do a show over the weekend, but probably won't be necessary because we've covered all the games in the show. And if you haven't done so yet, please do subscribe to our channel. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you on Monday.